Like, just you were born in Dhaka, right? You're born and bred in Dhaka, or at least bred in Dhaka. Then you moved to Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Then you moved to Ontario, lived there for a long time, and then back to Dhaka now, right? So how has the transition been like, and all of this within during the pandemic? So how difficult has it been for you to adjust or readjust like all the different locations and then coming back to to be doing something that's completely new in some ways? So how has it been?
I mean, if you talk about the transition, I
Hmm.
went right after high school, and I was young. I was 17 years old, so going to a country totally unknown to myself and settling there was a big challenge for me. But I got used to it. Stayed 4 years, and then I had to move again to a new location, which was Ontario. So I mean, everywhere I went, it was different, but I was still like, I was still with soccer, football. Like I was always playing that sport. So for me, I always adjusted because I was mostly spending time with my team, or especially in Toronto, I was working. So I would work in the morning and then train after I'm done. So that transition was pretty smooth because both the places are similar to each other. But then moving back to Dhaka, that was a very sudden move, right? The full call up and everything. It was also very sudden for me. So I had to leave everything in 5 days because I didn't have a lot
Yeah, I
of time.
remember that time. I remember we were talking every now and then at the time, and all of a sudden you're like, "Yep, I'm going back to Dhaka," and it's happening. So that must have been like crazy, and then to go straight into playing for the country, like wow. I'm going to take a few steps back and kind of ask you some basic questions, right? What got you into football to start with? Like when obviously we have our own stories, either an uncle or we watched a game or our parents, somehow we kind of get influenced. But what's your story in terms of getting into it for the first time?
To be honest, there's not only one story. Basically, I don't really know exactly what happened and how I got into the sport, but I do know when I was young, and at that time there was this ice cream in a ball. I don't know if you remember. And
The igloo snowball.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite ice cream. So I would always eat that and then just kick around the room. I remember that clearly when I was really, really young. So that's the only memory of me actually touching something and playing. Like,
Yeah.
so after that, I was just playing every day, and then I moved to Old UHS when I was in 2002. So and ever since that, I was just playing football.
So for most of us, we gave up right after those teenage years. We kind of gave up for multiple reasons, right? Either we were obviously not good enough to continue at that level, or life happened. But what made you kind of continue this at your highest level, at the very least, right? Like at your potential, because you went on a scholarship that was dedicated, or well, that was around the idea of playing football, and then you continued, and even before the whole international call up, you started the next level sport management, which I'll talk about later as well. But you kept on going regardless, right? Like, was it something you manifested in your head all the time that, okay, what, it doesn't matter, I'm just gonna keep going because I love it so much? Or did you have a feeling that this will happen, that you are going to end up professionally at some point?
That's actually a very good question because, ever since I was pretty sure at least you guys would know, I was very much passionate to play this sport, right? I would miss everything just to play from 4 to 6 p.m. every day. So
Yeah.
that passion kind of stayed with me. And even when you say continuing playing, let me just say continuing playing after high school. That was already a big step for me because I didn't have the opportunity. I couldn't look up to someone at that point who continued playing in a college level, and I had very little idea
Mm.
about these levels. So I had to adjust myself. Those 4 years of college, I learned actually how to play and what are the improvements I have to do basically. And when I moved to Canada, I didn't play football for 1 year, one full year. I was just
Wow.
working. Yeah, and I used to play this pickup leagues or corporate leagues, but all those leagues, when I was playing, I realized that this is not the level I should be playing. Not because they're bad or anything, but I everyone used to tell me in wherever I was playing that you should try out at least once, or you deserve a spot in a good team, in a professional team at least once. That's what they believe, but I didn't believe that. I just laughed it away and I said, yeah, maybe one day. But inside me, I just wanted to be a better player just because I was so passionate that every chance I would get, I just wanted to craft my skills and my fitness as in the best way possible. So that mindset kept me going, and I also accepted the fact that I'm different from my friends, because my friends, they would have a certain life, but in my head I was already a professional athlete. I would treat myself as, a professional athlete. So all those little things really motivated me every day to just try, because I'm 25 now, and every all this happened in last 3 months. So it's unbelievable, right? But those three, that it only happened because of all those years I didn't give up,
It
probably.
just added up, almost like a compounding effect. But with your studying and working, when you were abroad, right, and then playing and training at the same time, how how difficult was that for you? Because again, you didn't have the goal to play professionally, but you kind of kept it up. You kind of gave everything else up just to play, at least, in whatever capacity. So how much of that impacted your game and staying fit and all that kind of stuff, and how you just maintained, like what was your, I guess, overall, yeah, like effort?
That's actually a very good question too, because when I was working full time, the first job I had, it was an insurance advisor. Basically, I sell insurance, and I used to be on the phone like most of the time,
Yeah.
talk to clients, and that that involved me working either 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, or sometimes 12 to 8 p.m. But usually my practice would be at 6 or 7 p.m. every day. So like when I would have 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, I would work and then go right after to my training. But sometimes my shift will be in a way that will be 12 to 8, and that would lead me to miss those trainings. So I had to sacrifice a lot. I even quit jobs before. I would always email my manager saying, "Hey, I play semi-professional. This helps with my mental state. If you want me to work, well, you need to also like give me some chance to play football." And thankfully, all the managers I had, they were so cooperative. They gave me time off just to play, just to train.
Wow.
But that's what they did for me, because I told, I got in a call with them. I told them like, hey, look, I'm very passionate about this and I want to keep going, and they understood. But on a personal level, I just I was like, what's better to do? I know it's tough, but then I also think about those players, like those players, how they came to this level, right? From fourth division to working all day. People work construction. If people can work 9 to 5 construction and then go become a professional player, I can do 9 to 5 desk job and
Yeah.
then go train for 2 3 hours every day and repeat. So that was the motivation basically behind it.
We go way back, the underground days were, great fond memories. And for someone who's seen the underground scene start, and then you basically went your way, where you continued to play, at the highest levels, and then now, like, basically playing at the highest level at an international level. um we've always had this debate back in the underground days, where we would always think, like, like, was underground football ever good enough? Because we would always talk about, like, how we never got the support, or how there was no pathway for the whole underground scene to actually make it big. Because when we were teenagers, we had the fitness, the passion, the time to invest, but there was nobody who were looking at us, right? um, that was one thing. The other thing was the quality. Like, we saw players like you, and there were other players at the time. We talk about Seven Nations Army, and all the DHS United. All these teams had amazing players. Now that you've kind of lived that life, you now then went to, USA and Canada, played at that level, and now coming back and to play in Bangladesh at a national level. How, how much of it do you think, or how many of those players back then do you think could have actually made it if there was an opportunity? Do you think the quality could could have stood up to the level that we always thought it could?
So, I was I was also one of them, right? Like just a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And I would also think like that maybe if, there was an opportunity for us, we could have shown on a bigger level. So I played a lot of years in underground ever since I was young. And to be honest, I think a lot of us could have made it because, and I'm saying this very honestly, I've seen players in Bangladesh, I've seen players abroad. A lot of us were very technically gifted and skillful, great finishing, but the only thing we lacked is we never played in a big field, so we don't know how to play in a big field. Because when you play professionally or when you play competitively, there's way more things to do than just being skillful or finish. You know, you have to see, you have to have a good vision, you have to have good fitness, and you have to learn about this game. Like I think I started learning about football when I left Bangladesh. That's when I was actually started learning. But when I
Wow.
was playing in Dhaka, I was playing and I was enjoying. I was having fun. But there's so much to learn, and it's unbelievable. If it's not taught in an early age, it will be very difficult for someone to just randomly becoming a professional player, because you have to be under good guidance, under good coach, and you have to train every single day when you're young. And which we didn't do it. We just played games or tournaments.
I want to take a step back and talk about your debut, right? So debut for Bangladesh, when you kind of found out, like, within a month everything kind of flipped upside down for you, and you're wearing the national jersey, and then you're out there, representing the colors. What was it like, from start to finish? Like, did you have were you nervous? Were you, because when, again, as teenagers, we kind of play this, scene in our heads that, okay, if we ever become a national or international player, we're gonna score a goal, or we're just gonna put that jersey on. It's, like living the Santiago Munez dream, right? And you're doing that, on our behalf, which is bloody awesome. So what was it like for you in terms of just leading up to that moment? Were you nervous? Were you anxious? How did you deal with it? And obviously the aftermath. Yeah, just want to know a bit more about that.
Yeah, well, right before the call up, like I was already training with my club, which was North Toronto Nitros. So we were getting ready for our league, which is League One Ontario. And I was already playing games, and I only played 3 games, I guess, and I did really well in those 3 games. I think I got like 2 goals and 2 assists, something like that. My coach Marco all of a sudden sends me a WhatsApp message saying, "Hey Khan," they all call me Khan there, by the way. So he's like, "Hey Khan, the Bangladesh national team coach just emailed me, and I think he's a legit guy. I looked him up, and it looks like he's actually the coach." And I said, "Okay, are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm 100% sure." So he's like, "Okay." And then he tells me that they want to have a Zoom conversation with me about you. And I said, "Oh, wow, okay." And I was already like, excited, nervous. I just don't know what to feel. I just told my parents that
Yeah.
something like coming up, but I didn't really tell. And yeah, after like 2 days, my coach said, "Yeah, we had a conversation. They asked what type of player you are, how do you help our team, and it looks like they're gonna call you for like a tryout or something." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then within like an hour or two, Jamie sent me a voice note on WhatsApp saying, "Yeah, he wants to invite me for a 3 days, 3 teams tournament in Kyrgyzstan." And he only gave me like what 10 days to fly out from Canada to Kyrgyzstan. Yes, within like 2 days, they sent me like the e-visa, my flights, and everything, and I had to pack my bags and yeah, just fly there. It was crazy. I was nervous. I was very nervous. I called my coach and I told him, "Hey, I have never played in this level." And then the only reason I'm here right now it's because of my coach Marco, because he put so much belief in me. He just
Mhm.
told me, "Trust me, I watched you play, and I know you can do it easily. It's just they play the game in a faster pace, higher tempo. That's it, nothing else. So I told myself I have nothing to lose. If I play good, that's great. If I play bad, I play bad. But I at least tried, right? So I wasn't nervous, to be honest. When I
Wow.
step on, I think you remember, right? It was around
Yeah.
85th. Yeah, stepped on the field. I was excited. I was also nervous, but once I got in, it was just another game. I
And
was
you were doing like tricks and stuff as well, and I think that showed that you weren't as nervous as one would be at the time. And while you were doing those things, like, do you just feel like you were playing at the park and these just random people, or were you actually conscious? Like, because sometimes, I've played, obviously not the same level, but when we play, sometimes you do things without really thinking. Like, it kind of happens, your body kind of adapts to it. I guess, were you in that point where your body was just functioning on a robot, like autopilot, without you thinking, or what was it like?
not really. Once I got in, I saw that I have a lot of space around me, so it's and I don't I you remember that play when the ball went in the corner and then
Yep, yep, at the D box on the right. Yeah,
I was in that corner, so I was like, okay, like this is the best chance for me to go because I'm fresh. I'm only
yeah.
playing 10. I can give my all. I can just run full 10 minutes and I'll be
Mm,
all right. So yeah, I got the ball from him and then I did the trick shot on him and then I was like, oh wow, wait, I'm already past him. And then I had another guy coming up and I didn't want to do too much to be honest. I wanted to pass the ball and then I see have enough
yeah,
space to pass him too. So I
yeah,
did that. And so yeah, it was just a quick. You don't have a lot of time to think really.
yeah. Of
You're
course, that's what I meant. Yeah, yeah. No, that was awesome. But what's it like playing professionally in Bangladesh as well? Because that's and I don't want to get into too much, I guess, nitty of the details, but you hear things and you see things. But for you personally, how has it been to play, both for the national team and for Sheikh Jamal right now?
so it's different. For the national team, it's the feeling is totally different. The
Yeah,
environment is different, and for club, it's a different feeling as well. Because currently, I'm playing with Sheikh Jamal Tanmandi Club. So they're a very nice club. They're very supporting me as a newcomer to the league, and I already played 4 games for them, and all of them I played over 85 minutes. So I'm still getting adjusted to the game here, and we also have foreigners, right? Every team here have 4 foreigners, so you just have to get adjusted to the local players and the foreigners as I'm new. But it's been going well. But the difference I will say when you play international games, it's very very high tempo. It's moving. It's way higher tempo than playing in Premier League. So
right.
that's the only difference.
How well have you gotten along with the other team members? Because I think one of the biggest part of playing for a club or even in the national team, you've got people from different backgrounds, right? You obviously being, I guess, an outsider in some ways. How has it been for you to kind of mold and understand into the current scene, and how much of, I guess, the coaching staff has an impact on you being able to mesh well with the rest?
It's been very good from the national team. If I
Yeah,
say it, the first time I landed, I think I landed around 5 a.m. and then we had a team breakfast around 7:30. So I didn't really have a lot of time to even sleep, and got right into breakfast. So we were just having breakfast in the hotel. Everyone came, introduced themselves, hands, and everyone's been very, to be honest, very welcoming. And the fact that I came from abroad, but I was someone who grew up here. They were very fascinated and interested to know my journey also. And about meshing well, it's been going well. Even in club, I spend a lot of time right in club, at least 5 hours every day from training or getting treatment or massage. And there's always players around, and you keep talking to different players, and that's how you build a connection, right? So far, it's been going very well for me in that aspect.
what's been the most difficult thing about being a professional footballer so far?
I think it's a big commitment than people think it is. It's professional athletes sacrifice a lot because you're training on the field for 2 hours, then you have to train off the field on your own for some time. A lot of the treatment, a lot of commitment, all, and it takes all day. So they don't get much time off or vacation. If if the league starts, you keep playing, right? Every
Mm.
week you do 3 games or 2 games, and you have to recover. So
Yeah.
I think this is a big commitment that all athletes have to take. That's one thing, and the other one, I don't know, maybe like you're always tired a little bit, and your friends will probably be like we can't plan anything with you because
Yeah.
you go to bed early, or you know you rest more. So yeah.
A big part of obviously is the discipline, right? So, and it sounded to me like you already had a fair bit of that, built in within you when you were abroad, because obviously before even playing for the national team, you were keeping fit. I remember you had your like challenges to stay fit, like fitness challenges on Instagram and things of that sort. I remember those from the early pandemic days, but it, a lot of those discipline that you have within you, where does it come from personally, like that mindset or that mentality? Like did you always have that in you, or do you kind of build it up? Do you do anything extra to build that mindset? I just wanted to know about that side of the thing, because a lot of it is mental as well, isn't it?
Yeah, no, to be honest, I was one of the most laziest person. And no, honestly, in the team, when I was in university in my first year, I would set alarms for 7 a.m., like 7 p.m., like very careless, like simple mistakes, and I've gotten a lot of trouble. There were days where I would just run for 3 hours because I was late to practice, or I was late
Wow.
to a team dinner. So being a student athlete, it teaches you a lot of discipline in life because you have to train 2 hours and then go to classes, do your homework, and if you have outside job part time, you do that. So when you have these kind of commitments, you have to be disciplined. And once I got used to that in my college days, I realized that's the best life because that's the way I can grind.
Mm.
And once I get very comfortable, that's a problem. So I always kept that going. And the reason for the challenges is basically to motivate me and also motivate someone. You never know who can be
Yeah.
motivated these things. So that was the whole purpose of it.
And I guess, speaking of the motivational side of things, where you're trying to inspire someone else, you've built an LSM, right? Essentially an academy for young kids in Dhaka and Bangladesh to be able to create that pathway into becoming a student athlete. Why did you create it? Like, first of all, like, we don't, it's first of its kind from what I know. And first of all, why did you create it, and where do you see it?
The reason I created is because, well, my journey being a student athlete was very new. And once I completed my journey, my brother also followed a similar path. So we were both student athletes, and we would get a lot of messages from students like, "How did we do it?" or "What's the procedure of going to this level?" It's not professional, but it's competitive, and students are getting scholarship for it. So why not? If you're good in soccer, why not try it, right? And these sort of agencies and academies are in all countries, like Brazil, Europe. But in Bangladesh, no one took the initiative. But considering me and my brother, we both lived through the experience, I think it's only right for us to the next generation of kids who dream, even if it's not professional, but to a certain level, and see what that life looks like. And during COVID, I realized that it's needed. I think a lot of us, we have that ability, and if we can just connect these two dots, they might even have a better future too. We can give good future to kids. So that was the whole purpose of it. And Alhamdulillah, we have sent almost 2, 3 students in 3 universities
Wow.
with sports scholarship, and we're also trying to take more. But
Yeah.
it's not only that, we have to prepare them
Yeah.
to go and to get accepted, right? So that's the whole thing. And where I see it going is, I wanted to grow more. I wanted to change the mentality of our athletes, that just playing 4 to 5 every other day wouldn't get you where you want to go. Almost impossible. You have to dream about the sport every day. You have to put in the work. You have to run, and if we set that mentality very early of an athlete, like 12, 13, 14 years old, by the time they're 18 or 19, they will see big changes. So that's our whole motive. Inshallah, my plan is one day I want to take it to different areas of Bangladesh and help the lesser privileged kids, so we can help them
Yeah.
eventually.
Obviously, it's an exciting project, but it also must be very daunting in the sense that a lot of the kids obviously dream about, getting to that level. And it almost feels like you're giving them this pathway, but they still have to kind of face the realities of working hard. And I think a lot of them might not realize that until they actually become a part of this journey. So for you to say it to their face and becoming that, good cop, bad cop kind of situation must be a very difficult thing for, especially speaking to teenagers, I'm sure.
No, just to add a little bit on what you said, even the way we coach, uh,
Yeah.
we focus on the positives more than the negatives. So we know that if there's 10 kids who's gonna get in, probably one will go professional or two, because
Yeah.
it's very difficult to go to that level, right? But we all
Exactly.
dream to go to that level. We all want to go to that level. So there is something as realistic hope, and we do give that to players, because you'll see players will come and be like, I want to play in EPL, and we're not just, no, you're not good enough. We will say, we will get you to try our best to get you to that
Yeah.
level, but it's all on you how much you put in the work. So we really motivate our athletes a lot here, and it's different than other academies. That's what I can say for sure.
How much of your how much impact did your family have on your journey? Like, how positive were they about it? And I've seen a couple of interviews with your parents, since you became a professional, but I wanted to know from you as well.
No, my family, ever since I was young, they were very supportive. Even though they didn't send me to an academy when I was 12 or 13, I used to make fun of it with them, but I don't blame them. I was too young, and
Yeah.
no one sent their kids to academies at that age. So, but at least they sent me to college for sports.
Yeah.
That was
That's
already,
supported. Yeah.
yeah. And my parents, especially my dad, like, he didn't really come to my games much, but the ones he would come, he would always enjoy, and he would always support me, and so would my mom. And people say, your kid, your son, they play well, and they like to hear that. As parents, they feel proud. And once I got the call up for the national team, right away they said, don't even think twice. It's about representing your country. That was my dream, Baba, and I would love to see you in those jerseys. So I didn't take me any longer. So they were very proud of my journey, and they like to give interviews to TVs. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure now, like after they saw you put the jersey on, that must have been probably the proudest moments of their life, right? And I think to present the colors at the highest level, essentially. So from someone who's kind of seen it from the inside right now, what do you think we should be doing to actually help improve the scene? You've seen the previous underground days, you've seen it evolve into something. It doesn't exist in the same manner as it did back then, but obviously, a lot of kids are still very much interested. You've got the NLSM that's going on. What do you think we should be doing more of to help the next generation of youngsters really follow your path, or at least be able to get into the national side of things?
Right. I think I can name a lot of different reasons, but I think the most important thing we can do is we have to fix the areas where they first start learn, like, where they first learn how to play. So, which is school. So if we can try and get all the, like the middle schools, high school, junior school, if we can get the sports area of the school very, like, put more importance to it, actually educate our coaches. That's very important that our coaches are educated, right? They get a certain, like, certificate, so they understand how to develop our kids. It should start from those scratch. It should start from grassroots level. Once we do that, everything else will flow. I know I can say, oh, we don't have enough field. I can say we have a lot of traffic, but
Mhm.
we go to school every day. you know so we already have
People
games,
still doing their stuff. Yeah, yeah.
have 1.5 hours of games class. If we can use that time and properly train and set that mentality from schools, from different schools, I can almost guarantee you, and I do believe in that we will see more talents coming out like that for sure.
And what about advice for youngsters, right? So obviously this was on a more systematic level, but for individuals who are like 13, 14, or even younger, what can they do personally to keep up that level of potential that they have?
At that level, you just have to basically enjoy playing soccer. Don't take it too seriously, but like take football or soccer seriously, but I mean not too serious, because you also have to follow. You have to complete your studies and whatnot.
Yeah.
But set time, I will say that's very important. So let's say, for especially for someone who's 12, 13, 14 years old, they have school to go to. So set blocks of times in a day. So let's say from 9 to 2 o'clock you have school. 4 to 6 I'm going to train, but those 2 hours I'm going to train hard. I'm going to
Yeah.
give it all, and then the remaining of the day I will do this or that. So if they can set up this priority and the discipline and train every day, I will suggest training every day. Absolutely. You have to touch the ball every day, and 100% that will bring changes to their life.
Ultimate goal for you personally with your career right now, where would you like to see yourself in 5 years?
Um, in 5 years, I don't know. Whenever someone asks me that question, I have trouble answering. But in terms of my football career, I do want to represent the national team, obviously again, and kind of be. I dream to take them, to some championship and also lead the team. That's always been my dream.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, maybe inshallah one day that day will come.
Would you ever consider playing in Europe?
Yeah, of course. That has
Like,
always
is
been.
it something you want to actively build towards, or are you going to kind of go as things come?
No, I mean, if I improve more and I play, I'm getting better. I'm pretty sure there will be opportunity for me to even move to Europe or any other countries and try a different league. That's also in my bucket list, to be honest.
Yeah.
I go to different countries and play different leagues at that level. So yeah.
Finally, I asked you what was the most difficult thing about being a professional footballer. Finally, I want to ask you what's the best thing about being a footballer?
You get to play football every day. That's the best thing, right? Like think of most of the people, they have to find time to get their friends
Mm.
to, and I go to field every day, so that's the best part about it.
Did you ever feel like, even if you love something, sometimes you do feel a little bit of like, it's the same thing doing. Did it ever happen to you regarding football ever?
For sure, because you don't want to also talk about football all the time, and
Yeah.
want to come home and I just don't want to talk about football really. I just want to talk about other things.
Yeah.
But it's something you have to accept. Whoever you meet, they're gonna ask you, when's your
Yeah.
next, oh, you played well, you played this. Like, you have to accept that the topic of football will always come among your friends and family at least once.
Yeah, no, on that note, the fact that you've given 45 minutes on a Saturday night to talk about football is great. So thank you. I appreciate your time. I know we know each other personally, so I'll promise you not to talk about football stuff after this call. We'll talk about something else later.
No, so much for having me in this recorded session, and through our conversation and through little advices that can motivate someone who will watch this video, and hopefully whatever the person's dreaming for, it will come true one day, and that's all I pray for.